Hey, what's going on, guys? We got a very special guest here. We have Whitney Bonds. She has escaped the 9 to 5 and she has created her own life. And in this episode, we're going to be discussing how she did it, how you can do it as the audience members, and what that new life that you're looking for looks like for you. So, Whitney, we're so excited to have you on the podcast. How are you doing today? And for you, how did this journey begin?
Hey, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. And the journey began when I got pregnant with my second child. I was living the life before that. I was wanting to be a corporate girl. I did the American dream. You go to college, you get the job, and you eventually get married and continue the work life though. That part does not stop. And so I was trying to climb the corporate ladder, but when I got pregnant with my second child, everything just like every the what my desires once were had all changed. Like the desire to climb the corporate ladder changed. My desire to stay home and raise my kids, that was my new desire. And I already had my son that was 1 years old. And when I got pregnant with my second child, I'm like, okay, that's where I want to be. I want to be home raising my kids. But my ambition didn't leave. I didn't want to just be a stay-at-home mom. I also wanted to still continue to challenge myself, think outside the box, and have more than just be more than just a mom. So
Exactly.
that's
And,
how I kinda got it all started, and then we can get
I
into it,
will.
but
I
that's
think. I
like that
think
was the
that's. I think that's one of the most important things because what we don't realize nowadays is that there's so many options. So
yeah,
to
too
see
many.
you as someone who's been, hey, I'm the mom, but I also run my side businesses. It's like, what are you talking about? Like we all see you at the daycare every week. What do you?
Yeah,
What do you mean you do all this stuff? How do you
yeah,
do it? Yeah.
and that's why I think that the nature of the world that we live in today, and we are such an advantage because you literally can have these one-person businesses that makes hundreds of thousands of dollars, not even I mean, not even millions, and still be able to pick your kids up from school and be involved and volunteer. It's like this is we are living at the best time ever, and it's all because of the power of the internet and being able to leverage your time and have automated tools to keep your business going while you're not even there. So it's just the time that we're living in that we're allowed to be able to do things like this.
Absolutely. And one of the big things that we're going to dive into today, and Whitney really got good with, is realizing how to compound her skills. So, what that means is basically you do something once, but you get paid on it over and over and over and over again. The conventional way we do that is we usually go to work, get paid one time, and then you leave and you don't have anything to hold as, like, how do we get paid again? So, this
Yeah.
is a completely different way of looking at it. So, Whitney, how did your journey, what was the first thing you did and what allowed you to really jump into that and
Yeah.
start to see
What
the residual?
Well, the biggest thing for me is I don't come from like a lot of money. I don't come from a world of entrepreneurs. So I had to like find other people who were like I didn't have the environment that you need typically if you think you can be an entrepreneur. I didn't have that around me. So I am really big about how does this work? I need to know that this works because I don't know anyone that it does. So I use the internet and I found other people's success stories and I studied them. So I was looking at other people who were successful and I studied to see how are they doing this? Does this really make sense? Is this a scam? And then when you really take the time to look at how they're doing it, it really all does make sense. So I think the biggest thing is just finding someone who's doing what you want to do and then study them to see how you can make what they're doing, make it your own. And that's literally what I did. I started out blogging. I found out there's these bloggers making $100,000 a month, and I
Wow.
only needed $2,000 a month. So I'm like, if I can just get a fraction of what they're earning, I can be successful. So I just literally studied what they did. I made it my own, and I always say like success to me is I understand the long game that especially with this online world. That's what I think separates me. People don't they want money right away, and I knew that this would take time so my first
Yes.
year when I got into blogging, I only made $5,000 the entire year. Most people would give up with that, but
Yeah,
I
let's
go ahead.
let's pause there. No, I think that's incredible because I think you're touching on a major point. The reason people take these jobs is because they get $20 an hour, $30 an hour,
Yeah,
$50 an hour, and it's guaranteed money. Now,
yeah,
when you're doing a new business, it's a $0 thing, and you don't know how it's going to work. And
no,
other major thing you brought up, Whitney, is that you talked about coaching, realizing that you can get free coaching at this point with people online and their strategies. And if people want to go a little bit deeper and they're like, I don't really get it, you can pay for coaches as
Yeah.
well. But mentorship and coaching is the key to a lot of success from people
Yeah.
at the right time.
Yeah, I did it myself when I first got started and then I got stuck. So I had to learn SEO to learn how to get my blog on the search results on Google. And I got stuck. I tried to do everything on my in my own power, but I'm like, I couldn't go any further. So that's when I ended up, and I'm very frugal, but I said, I have to get help. And that's when I reached out to this woman who was doing what I wanted to do with SEO. And I paid her to teach me what I was missing. And that is everything to me. That changed everything for my business. So
So
I implemented what she gave me. Go ahead. Do you have a
I
question?
was gonna say, how much did what paying her, did it equal like the amount
No, it
you
was
gave?
$75 for an hour call. And to me at the time, I'm like, this is such a huge investment because I was still at this time I had quit my job already. And I was saving all of my paychecks. We went down to living on one income. So before I quit my job, we were already living on one income, and I was saving all my checks just in case if I had to go back to work if it didn't work out. So I was every dollar counted. So even paying $75 for an hour call was like really big for me to do. But I believed in myself enough to say, if I can just figure this out, that's going to be able to make me more money. So that is what I did. And so paying her that woman $75 and implementing what she told me, it didn't happen right away. But the very next year, my blog blew up and I had made over
Yes.
$200,000. So all of that was just trusting the process. And also, I always say having a model. Those guys that were making $100,000 a month, I knew their story because I was studying them. It took them 18 months before they even saw a dollar. So I already had in my mind that this is just going to take a while. But if I trust the process and not the progress, then I'm going to get there. So because I had a guide that I was following, I knew it would work. I just had to take time to do it. And I took the steps to put and implement every day. Every week, I was writing a blog article. So I was putting myself out there and work. It was working for me, not even though I didn't see instant results. But after that, so long story short, I implemented what I needed to know for SEO. My blog, all my articles, my top articles were ranking high up in the search results on Google. And that is how I was able to get so much traffic to my blog. And I was making so much money in just ad revenue. Just people scrolling, reading my blogs, my articles. I was making so much money. I made like $50,000 that year in just revenue.
Wow.
And then the
That
rest came from affiliate commissions. So I'm just like, this is insane. And that is what got me like started into like, okay, thanking God that this is working. And then I was like, I just, after that, I just went all for it on this. I'm like, okay, if this thing works, I'm going all in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's so important for us to realize here is that Whitney didn't just make it happen. She took consistent action every single day. So whenever I do coaching and whenever I meet with anyone who sets a goal, it's usually three things. It's one, we set a big North Star. North Star, make enough money from blogging. And I want to share this just so the audience can kind of view this
Yeah.
and how do they set their goals. So it's set a big North Star, make more money in blogging than I do at my job. Okay, step one. Step two, what are the small actions I need to do to get there? Post a blog
Exactly.
every week. Three, what is the accountability? And this is where a lot of people drop off because they go, why am I doing this? Like, did you get paid for this? Should I do this? Does it
Yeah.
make sense? And by the time you're at the $200,000 making that, which is incredible, by the time you're there making the money, it's just like, this makes no sense. This actually makes no sense. And then people are like, hey, can you show me how you did that? And you're like, I can back you up. I can back you up. I didn't even realize I was on the right path. So for you,
Yeah.
how do you know when you're on the right path? Because I know people constantly they quit when the goal's right there. And
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
kept you motivated and what kept you going, I can do this.
Yeah, that's why I always say you need to have a guide, someone who's doing what you want to do and follow them. The only reason I even knew about blogging was because of those bloggers making $100,000 a month. And the only reason I stuck with it is because I knew it took them a while before they made money. So you need someone in front of you that is saying like, I can do this because they did it. I have that mentality of that Me Too mentality. If they can do it, I can too. So I knew I could do it and it would just take time. And I had a good story, I had a good angle. It was all set up to do great. I just had to take the time and trust the process.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I met with Whitney last week. We did an intro call, and she got me so excited about the opportunity of YouTube because she's like, Jordan, you're on YouTube, you're posting a lot of content. Like, where are you? Like, what is missing? So we started talking about the different strategies and the different ideas, and I started diving in way deeper than I ever
Yeah.
thought. And now I'm taking the whole angle on the podcast completely different and putting it towards YouTube, which has become this really fascinating thing for me. And now it's just how do we make the most out of this? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
How do we know when it's our time? How do we know when to take action? So for you, obviously, you've gone through these successes, but it didn't just always happen. And sometimes the la- the land is moving very quickly. So we
Oh my
don't
God.
even know what's good, what's bad, where to go, where to put our eggs in a basket, how do we think
Yeah.
about this? Yeah, so how was that for you?
Yeah, so I can talk all day about this. So one of the things so my blog started blowing up. I was getting traffic to my blog from Pinterest and traffic to my blog from Google. These were the two platforms those bloggers were doing. So these are the two platforms that I use. That's how I knew what to use. I just used what they were doing. They had more time, more money, more resources to do these things. So I said, okay, they did the research for me. I don't have to go out and look and try different platforms when I can already see what's working. Long story
So
short, I
yeah,
started go ahead.
sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I just want to jump in there. That's such a good strategy. If you don't have the time, the money, or the resources, focus on reaching out to the people. Focus on reaching out, seeing the people who are successful and focusing on them. Because if you do that, they will expedite everything. So, like, for
Exactly.
example, for us, like, I'm working on the YouTube. So it's like, who's doing well in YouTube now? How
Yeah.
are they doing it? And focus on that because they've already tested everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the beauty of this for even YouTube is you don't even necessarily have to pay them. You can literally just study them. You can look at their intros, their thumbnails, their titles, and say, why did that one do good better than that other one? It's probably the subject matter, but there's reasons to all of this stuff. And that's why I love YouTube because the answers are right in front of your face. But
Yeah.
Oh, but to go back to the thing is, I was getting over 100,000 page views per month just from Pinterest. So it was doing really
Wow.
well. But by the end of 2019, Pinterest changed their algorithm and my traffic went down to like nothing. So, oh,
Explain that in like super simple terms because I know people listening are going, algorithm, pin,
yeah.
what are you talking
So,
about? Page views,
so
what does that mean?
I had like mastered Pinterest. It's like you have to figure out how to get your pins to go viral. And I understood it once I got into it. And so I kept just repeating the process. It was working so well for me, so I kept doing it.
Essentially, is this equivalent to like Netflix where you go on the for you like the homepage and then that
Yeah,
video
it's
drop
very
pops up?
similar. So
Yeah.
for people who have been to Pinterest, it's full of just they call them pins. And then you just click on the one that you wanna learn more about. And so I learned how to create good pins that people would wanna click on. When they would click on it, it would take them to my blog. So I learned that skill. And so I kept doing it over and over. And then when Pinterest changed something with their platform, the things that I was doing before had just stopped. So I had to change my method. And I was trying to do everything to figure it out, like do a new method, and nothing was working. So my 100,000 pages per month went down to like 1,000. So I lost
Whoa.
a lot. And then but the one good thing that happened for me was that Google is actually better traffic. So, and I was getting so much of traffic from Google. Honestly, I obviously did not want to lose that Pinterest traffic, but it didn't really hurt my business. So
Okay.
that was good. But I now only have one source of traffic. What if Google changed their algorithm and everything and I don't get any traffic from them? I'd have nothing. And I didn't
And
like that feeling.
yeah, and this is something very similar to people feeling at jobs where they'll have
Mhm.
a 9 to 5 job and it's like you have one source of income. In this day and age, like side hustles are very viable. A lot of people are
Yeah.
doing different things, and it's like, how do you make money to protect your family and who you are? Because as a business owner, it's the utmost importance to look for different income avenues. Because
Yeah.
or sources or anything. Because if we're only sitting on one thing, it's best of luck to you.
Exactly. And I've learned too many times. I've got burned too many times because Google changed their algorithm. But good thing what before they changed their algorithm, I had started a YouTube channel because I interviewed this guy, Nate O'Brien, on my blog, and I asked him, how much do you make? And when he told me that he made over $30,000 in just the month of January, just from ads, that's not anything else. I was like, where's my camera? Because I was not going to allow my fears of being on camera keep me back from being a stay-at-home mom and taking care of my kids. So I being on camera was one of the things that I said I would never want to do. I said I never want to start a YouTube channel. I didn't like being in front of the camera. Who wants to do that? It's a learned skill. I don't want to learn another skill. I had to learn so much with blogging. I didn't want to do anything else to learn something completely outside my element. But I thought about what do I want more? And what I wanted more than anything was to be able to stay home with my kids. So I chose that over myself and my insecurities that I had about being on camera. And I just got started. So I started my YouTube channel. Long story short, I did it during COVID. That was a time where I was like, all right, the world's shut down. This is a good time to start something new. And so, long story short, Google changed their algorithm. And I think a year or two ago, but at this time, my YouTube channel has already blown up. And so even though I lost all my Google traffic pretty much, my income didn't suffer because of YouTube. And that's why I'm just so big about constantly evolving, because the world that we live in, even in the entrepreneurship world, you have to constantly evolve as these platforms and change and algorithms. You don't even know what's going next. And now I'm all in on YouTube, and the sense of security I have right now is that because YouTube is my main source of income, I don't feel comfortable with this being my only source of income. But with the way the world is right now, I'm actually okay right now because I don't foresee in the future right now not anything happening with YouTube in the foreseeable future for right now. But this is still driving me to want to have other sources of income outside of just YouTube because I don't want to depend solely on this platform for the way I live my life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope this is a wake-up call to the audience, seeing that even when you're successful in different areas, failure is still, and it's not failure, but it's this idea of, I think the biggest challenges we have is that we label things. So we label, like you labeled
Yeah.
yourself a stay-at-home mom. Cool. Most people see a stay-at-home mom. Let me go to Pilates at 11. Let me get coffee. Let me do this. They don't think, let me go shoot YouTube for 2 hours and talk to my subscribers and see what the community is like and doing this
Right.
and these different deals. Because we have these frames and we don't realize that we can all evolve at any moment. Like we have a lot of power inside of us and we can do these things because someone else has done it before. So for you, what is the biggest insight that you want to share with people, letting them know it is possible? Because little like Whitney, you literally did it in the SEO, and then you also did it the blog, and then you also done it on YouTube, and you're moving it on to different areas. Like, how did you get that confidence? Like, because I know there's people listening going, lucky for her, like good for her, like, but how did someone else do it?
Yeah, even when you say lucky for her, I'm just thinking like when I think that there's no luck involved in this at all. I have worked so hard. And I think the biggest thing is I always ask people, what do you want? And I think that's the biggest thing. That's the question that they should always have. I wanted more than anything to be able to stay home with my kids and make money on the side. So because I wanted that more than anything, the other things that I wanted, like enjoyed doing, fell off. Like I like to watch TV. I don't watch TV. I didn't have time to watch TV anymore. I like to hang out with my friends. I didn't have time for that because that didn't meet the goal that I really wanted more than anything. So when
Yes.
I hear people say, I want to start a business, I'm like, no, you don't, because you don't do anything that's working towards wanting to start a business. If you really want to start a business, you take the time to figure out, okay, let me just watch some YouTube videos. Let me listen to some podcasts. Let me try to figure this out. Every waking moment that you have available, if that's what you really want, should be towards that until you get there. You know, I always say we are in different seasons of our life. So the season that I was grinding every day, even when I worked my 9 to 5, I was starting on my blog. Early in the morning, I would get up, working on my blog. Then I had to go to work. On my lunch hour, I'd be working on my blog. At night, after I got the kids to bed and hang out with my husband, I work on my blog. It was brutal and it's not pretty, but I was working towards something. And that's why I'm saying, what do you want? I want it more than anything. And I got it because I worked towards what I wanted. So I always just say, like, what are you putting your energy from? And it's not also just working, it's also working to something that works. So that's why I'm so passionate about having a guide, someone who's doing what you are already doing so you know it works. It's not just a guessing game. It's all just like, I know it's going to work. This is my plan and strategy. I'm going to implement it. And then once you work the process, it's going to work for you. So that's what I would just really recommend to anybody, or say anybody can have the success if you want it. That's really the key.
Yes. Yes, and it's the working of the plan, I think, is the most important thing because, as we've talked about, everyone's got plans, everyone's got big ideas, big goals, big things, but the action is never amounting to what they say they're going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what I'm
Walking the
like, you don't
walk is
want it. You don't want it.
way hard. Yeah, it's a lot harder than you think it should be. But that's why it's so important for us to just put in all of our efforts. Like, you know what I mean? Figure out what the opportunity we want is and go after that. So, was there any other changes? Obviously, you made sacrifices with friends, television, ideas. Was there anything you had to adjust with your mindset? Because I can only imagine how you felt in the 9 to 5 grind, where you were at mentally, versus mentally when you're at the SEO point, and then mentally at the point of like, oh God, I lost it again. I gotta
Yeah.
go through this process again.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster. I think entrepreneurship is something like we try and glamorize it because it really is. To me, I love it. It's not, I can't foresee myself ever going back the other way.
Yeah.
But it is not just an easy ride. Like there's some days when my business is doing so well and I'm just loving it. And then the next day something happens. I'm like, oh Lord, what am I doing? And am I doing anything right? So it's just like it takes you on a full roller coaster ride and you don't even know, like, are you on the right path? There's no guide to this. You can have coaches and stuff like that, but you're really the one running it all and you have to make the decisions. And this is something that you don't get prepared for in the life we live. So it's just it's a lot, but it's worth it. And I feel like I've
Yes.
grown so much. Like I have so much more confidence. I didn't want to speak on camera because I didn't speak well. I didn't want to start a YouTube channel because I didn't talk professional. It's just I had so many insecurities about myself and entrepreneurship and starting my YouTube channel. And now I actually have speaking engagements. Like you don't understand how much anxiety I had about speaking in public in front of people. But this has taken me out of my comfort zone and made me into a better person. So I promote entrepreneurship because of the sole purpose of the personal development that you get out of it.
Yes.
You are forced to be out of your comfort zone, and that's what makes you grow. I think too many
Yes.
people are comfortable being comfortable, and that's the problem. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
I completely agree. And then you see a lot of people as they get older and they get in higher levels of their career or whatever it is, they stop stepping into that uncomfortable nature because they're like, I
Mhm.
don't have to do that anymore. I
Yeah.
don't have to do that. I'm past that. I don't do
Yeah.
that. And the thing is, for most people, is that uncomfortableness goes away after a while because you start getting comfortable in the uncomfortable. And
Yeah, that's so true.
that usually happens because you've done something enough times.
Yeah.
So when people start going, "Oh, you're really good at that." Like I did a speaking engagement and they're like, "How'd you get so good?" I go, "Well, I lead a group 2 times a week. I've been doing that for the past like 4 years. I have over 200 podcasts that I've done. I would expect me to be able to speak a little bit."
Exactly. Yeah, and it's like putting in the reps. The more you do anything, it's a principle in life. The more you do anything, you're gonna get better at it. And I think that's the thing that people don't want to do. They don't want to keep doing it to learn to get better. But I'm all about putting in the reps because I know it's only gonna make me better.
Absolutely. And so for you, how's the journey been going from someone who goes, "Yeah, I just need 2,000" to making multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars? Because that's whoa, should we hire people? Should we be doing this? Should we be investing here? How do we think about this? Because you go from this one frame of, hey, I was just trying to make a little bit of money. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it's blown my mind, and such a blessing. Like I have like my family, they like help me in my business, and I feel like it's such a blessing to be able to like help my family out and me still make a nice amount of money. So I feel like this has just been such a blessing for not just me, but my family as a whole too. And like when I say my family, not my immediate, well, and my immediate, my kids are on payroll, my husband's on payroll. Like this is a whole family business, but outside my other family members that I have too, that some of them are employed by me. And it's just amazing that I can employ my family members. And what was the question again? I'm just talking.
I was saying how did you go from basically this idea of, hey, I just want to be a stay-at-home mom with a side hustle to this, I'm kind of a CEO right now. Like I'm
Oh
making a
yeah,
lot of
yeah, yeah.
decisions. I'm making a lot of choices.
Well, I did not expect my blog to blow up like it did. And then when it did, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is the amazing world that I can be able to stay home raising my kids and make money like this. And so that opened my eyes to a whole nother possibilities. I didn't think I'd go this far. And I have so much room for growth. Like I haven't even, I probably did 10% of what I could am capable of. And
Yeah.
now when my kids go to school full time next year, because I have my little one that still is part-time, I'm like, I'm about to be a beast because I'm gonna have more time, and the more time I can put into anything, it's going to succeed. So, but it's just been a journey because I like my first when my blog blew up over $200,000, I had to pay like over $40,000 in taxes because my business was not set up right. Because I should have had an S corp, and like, what the world is an S corp? And then
Yeah.
now I need an accountant, and then all these things that did not prepare me for the success. So it's just a lot of learning experiences. So I now have an accountant that now I meet with often. I have people that I just didn't think I needed until I needed it. So it's just like I said, there's no guidebook to this stuff, but I've just been learning from people along the way. I've been getting into different mentorship programs just to learn. And that's a big part of what how I've been doing. So once my business started like blowing up, I started investing a lot more in my business and myself to kind of figure out this
Yes.
stuff out. So that's the biggest thing that I think I did that got me around the right people who are having already the success and learning how do they do what do you do with your money? Like these are the
Yeah.
things that I have no idea what to do. So I think that's been such a blessing too. And the fact that we get tax write-offs for investing in myself and my business, I can write that
Yes.
off. I love stuff like that. So
Yeah. People have no idea that coaching is a write-off. And what they mean by that is basically that it goes against your income. Like it shows that you didn't make as much. And it's just important for us to realize that no matter how old you are, whether you're 13 or you're 47 or you're 85 or you're 100, like we always need to be consistently growing. And I think that's one of the biggest things for us. So, how do you feel, Whitney, that you've really changed mentally prior to now, like being this entrepreneurial person? Because I know when I talk to some people mentally, they're like, I'm stressing, I'm scared, I'm this. Some people are like, I'm empowered, but it's only moments. So, how do
yeah.
you think it's really changed for you?
Like I am like completely different. Like when I was with the Whitney, when I was with my 9 to 5, it was just kind of like just to live in a comfortable life. There was no expectations of anything more outside of just like the norm and
Yeah.
or being average. And we're not supposed to be average. Like our my mindset is like I'm not average. We're not supposed to be average. But I was completely living an average life, thinking I'm average, knowing that there's only so much I had a ceiling and there's so much I could only get up to. But then this world has given me a whole nother mindset that they're like, I am unstoppable. There's nothing that I cannot do. And now I
Yes.
have the confidence to be able to do and believe, actually believe, not just say, but believe that I can do whatever I want to do pretty much. But
Yes.
I'm completely changed.
So
And
what? Yeah, and it's not an easy process, but it's building a life that you're actually proud of and that gives you freedom. You know what I
yeah,
mean? We all talk about this, but we don't even know what that looks like.
yeah.
So by actually starting to step into that authentic version of yourself, do you ever like struggle with imposter syndrome, or do you ever think like, I don't even know how I got here?
I'm getting better with that because when this like changed me. When this guy said imposter syndrome is when you're talking about something you don't know. You're if you just tell your story and stick to what you know and what worked for you, you're no longer an imposter. Like
Yeah.
even though in my this is just my story. So I have learned to just tell my own story. And now that gave me the confidence to say, why would I not? Why am I scared to tell my own story? So
Yeah.
I no longer that when I learned that, I no longer struggle with imposter syndrome because I'm literally just telling my story. I like no one can make this up. No one can say she's lying. This is just me telling my story and saying that I believe that if I can do this, you can do it too. But there's nothing, there's not a lie about this. This is just what happened, and I
Yeah.
can tell my truth.
And if someone's here and they're sitting there and they're like, I'm in a job I don't like, Whitney sounds amazing, but like, I don't know how Whitney did that. What do you think this person can do to prepare? Because I know you mentioned a few things where you're like, we were saving paychecks, we were kind of trying on the side. Like, what do you think they should be doing to prepare for that?
Yeah, I would say do what I did. First of all, I would say pray. I because when I wanted to get out of my job, the first thing I went to was Google. I thought Google had all the answers, but God is the one who has all the answers. So I should have went to God first in prayer and asked like, Lord, what do you want me to do? What am I supposed to be doing? I don't feel like this is right for me. And when I started praying, I did not get my answer right away. And people are want to say, well, I don't hear nothing. But I'll never forget what changed for me was 4 months into my pregnancy. I woke up with this idea, and I say it was a God idea, and it was the idea to start a blog. But I also say I would never have also thought about blogging, or that wouldn't have came back to my remembrance had I not done the work before, looking at other people's success, trying to see what they did. So I think it's a two-part thing. You know, God can help you, but what are you doing? So I'm big about just like the first thing I would do is, definitely spend time asking God, what does He really want for you? And then I would look to see what's out there. What are people doing? There's so many people doing so many different things. It's a little bit of information overload. But every day I would say just do one thing. So listen to a podcast about e-commerce. Listen to a podcast about blogging. I would not recommend blogging anymore. It has completely changed. Learn about YouTube. Definitely listen to your stories on your podcast just to get inspired to see like what are people doing it and asking yourself, is that something I want to do? If it's not, it's okay. You're learning yourself and what you want to do, and then keep it going every day. Like, do you want it? And so once you do that, it's bound to happen if you are working towards it. So that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, and the biggest thing you said there for me really was two things. One, it was taking action every single day. And when you hear every single day, you go, what about Saturday and Sunday? Of course. Maybe you double action on those days. Because here's the truth, guys. If you want to work on something, there's really no days off. It's like maybe you wake up early, maybe you work on it during lunch, maybe you a little time at the end. Because here's the truth. If you want to get better at any skill, it doesn't require that much time. It just
Yeah.
requires the focused effort that a lot of us miss because we get so distracted with a million different things.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm like saying doing the laundry, you should be listening to a podcast, doing the dishes, like what the time that you're doing something that does not take a lot of mental work, do that listening to podcasts. Do that to listen to enlighten yourself. Like take advantage of the time that you do have because you have it. We all have the time. It's just how are you managing it? So that's really what it is that it comes down to.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you start to realize that there's a world of opportunity out here, and you really do just got to put yourself out there, whether it's trying a new thing, whether it's throwing an offer out there, throwing a video up, like, and I'm gonna be honest with you, most of the time you do anything in the beginning, you're probably gonna get rejected.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah, you probably
that's
are.
just
So
how it
just
goes.
expect it. And rejection is a good thing because you're learning, like, okay, let me not do it that way again. So it's not even rejection, it's just like a learning experience. I
So
think
I
you
think I think that's one of the biggest things that you talked about, Whitney, is this constant ability to test. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Where we're constantly going through and we're testing different ideas out. So how do you think about data and testing? Because I know when we talked in the
Yeah,
pre,
I'm so
like,
big about it. It's the only way you know anything. You can't just go. So I'm like every video I do, I'm testing. I'm gonna try this title out, try this thumbnail, hope it works. If it doesn't, oh well, the next one's not gonna be that same thing. So thank God I'm learning. So I'm not doing the same thing over again, making the same mistakes. So the
y-
testing is everything it's like literally everything I do is just testing. And my team kind of hates it because they want some normalcy to say, like, okay, this is what we're doing. But I'm like constantly testing just to kind of see what works. And then when I do see something that works, I do it again.
yeah. And that means that guys, when you're sitting there working on a video, for Whitney, when you're making a video, are you focusing on yourself or is this more for the audience? Because I want
Always
people to
the
understand
audience.
the spotlight thing. That's very important that when we're going through content, it is not the Whitney show, it's not the Jordan show. It's how do we all get better? Yes, we learn from it because we're prepping, we're presenting, we're doing all these skills, but everyone's just a facilitator.
Yeah, exactly. I constantly, even when I'm recording my videos and working on my script, I'm asking myself as Whitney, the viewer, Whitney, because I'm hard on my on other people. So I'm like, Whitney, would you still be watching this? Like, is this some fluff that you're giving? Take that out. And because you need people to want to like and trust you. And if you're just giving some fluff and stuff that you know that's just not that great, like take it out. Because if you don't even want to listen to it, somebody else really isn't going to. So always look in the eyes of a viewer watching your stuff and see if this is right for you and or
Yeah.
right for them. That's just how it's got to be in that lens, not yourself.
Absolutely. And that's why the perspectives are so important, that we're noticing that we're working for the audience. So if someone's interested in finding their next business, starting their next thing, what should they be doing? Like, obviously, daily deposits, but like, what's the first step? Like, I'm sitting there, I'm at home, and I go, I don't know. I know I want to do something. I know I don't love what's going on now. What should I do? How can I think about that?
This is actually something I created because this is the like number one question that I get is Whitney, I want to start a business, but I don't know what to do. So I went and interviewed 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs doing different things for the sole purpose of just helping you get that light bulb moment. Like this is what when I went to figure out to Google searching for success stories, I was just kind of searching out there. So I wanted to create something that was just a clean, easy way to say, like, okay, these are all different things that people are doing. And then these are their stories on actually how they did it, how much they make, how they got there. Literally just taking the same concept that I use, learn from what other people are doing. And then when I have that light bulb moment to say, like, oh, now that sounds interesting. Maybe I could try to do that. Then you can read their story and learn from them. So that's one thing that I do have that I can share with your audience too, that will help them learn or at least get an insight. I feel exposure is everything. Had I
Yes.
not been exposed to blogging or those bloggers making $100,000 a month, I would have never started a blog. Never. So you have to be exposed to things that you would not have ever considered before. So that's the biggest thing right there.
And that is honestly the reason I started 5 years ago doing the podcast. Because you hear these stories from these people, you hear these things, and you're like, I don't know, maybe
Mhm.
not. It could be interesting. I'm not sure. And that's where you're constantly in this learning environment where it goes, that could be something I'm interested in. That's
Yeah.
something I kind of like. Is that something good? And you start to realize that there's an endless world. The biggest challenge I
It's
always tell
endless.
people, yeah, the biggest challenge I always tell people is that if you really look back, probably like the 1800s, 95% of the people were farmers. The cotton gin comes out, 5% of the people are farmers. What do they
Wow.
do now? And you have this big transition of like, when I was a farmer, that's very simple. Like, you know the path. You might not like the path, but you know what the path is. Then you
Yeah.
start going generation, 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 and now you're in this place of, wait, I could take videos of myself. I could go on YouTube and talking to myself. I could drive a cool car for somebody. I could be a driver. I could start a business. I, you could work a job. Like there's a million different things you can do, which
Yeah.
causes us this stress of like, whoa, this is a little too much. So I
Yeah.
always think it's super important for people to realize there's a research period, but it doesn't have to become an analysis paralysis. It's
Yeah. And
very
that
good to take some action.
Yeah, that's why I say like you want to be that's why I'm just so big about having someone to follow because then you have a guide. You can say like, okay, even on social media, are they even posting? Go to their platform, see which ones get the most engagement, what posts get the most engagement. So then you already know this audience, they're interested in this kind of content. Like everything is kind of laid out for us on a platter, but people just don't know how to what to do. So that's just my biggest thing is the biggest thing to do is find out someone who's doing find out what you want to do, find out who is doing it, and then study them. That's my biggest thing that I think that's what's worked for me from blogging to YouTube. And that's kind of the model that I like to use.
Absolutely. I completely agree because I think without a model and without a North Star, you don't know if you're going in the right direction. And
Yeah,
that's why
exactly.
it's always important to have mentors. It's always important to get new ideas, new perspectives. Like when we look at a board, when companies have boards, they have people that are in different companies.
Yeah,
Why?
that's so
Why?
true.
Why? Because they offer a different perspective.
Yeah.
So it's super important to get people to sit there and go, okay, you're on the path, you're not on the path, we're doing the thing, you're not doing the thing. It's okay. but you just need to get more opinions and kind of see how people are doing it. But when you're in a tidal wave, which YouTube is a tidal wave, that's why I'm starting to focus on it more. Because then it's easier to just hop in the stream instead of create your own stream, as someone told me one time. Because like if you could just hop in a stream and you can learn. But I really hope everyone got something, some value from this on how Whitney got out of the 9 to 5 and was able to create this life of freedom. Now, Whitney, I know you're doing some different stuff on YouTube. You have some different ideas how to help people. What are some of those things that you're doing?
Yeah, so the biggest thing with YouTube is just like understanding how to find the right title and thumbnail and topic. Like if you can master these three things, you're gonna master YouTube. And if you can do that, you're gonna make a whole lot of money. So this is what I now teach in a 4-week boot camp. Show people how to, well, not it's more than that, but the main concept though is to understand the pillars that you need to build to success on YouTube. And I just take you each week. I take you through very simple things one every single week you get a task. So it's and because I always say information overload, when you get that, you do nothing with it. So I've
Yeah,
created this 4-week boot camp with things that you can actually do where you don't feel overwhelmed. And every week you're gonna have a task, but it's gonna be doable with a 9 to 5. So I'm running that. I just ran it. It did so well, the first one. So we're gonna do it again in June. And I may continuously do these because they're so good. It's just it went over so well. So I'm like, okay. And then we got good reviews, so you guys can check out the reviews and all that. But it really helped people transform and actually get out of analysis paralysis and get their channel started and have an actual strategy on how to learn and grow.
absolutely. And if you guys didn't notice, this has been one of Whitney's examples. Me and Whitney worked on the title. We're going to work on the thumbnail and we're going to see how this works for me because I'm in a constant learning phase. So when I learned that Whitney was doing this, I go, you must give me more. We must learn more. So, guys, Whitney has been so knowledgeable. She has so much information. Whitney, where can people learn more about you and hear more about you, learn about the boot camp if they want to?
Yeah, I'll give you the link for the boot camp, but also you can just my biggest channel is YouTube. And so you can find me at youtube.com at Whitney Bonds. I have a lot of helpful videos on help you learn how to make money from home. And those are the biggest channels. I do have an Instagram, Whitney Bonds 101, but if you really want to find me where I'm active, it's on YouTube.
Awesome. Thank you.